It's Platt, and some people like to think outside the box. I like to drink from the box. That's next to Platt's Drink of the Week. Well, I hope everybody's having a good day, keeping warm from the cold this time of year. So recently I was at the liquor store kind of walking through the wine section, and I go down the aisle where they keep the box wines or the value wines. And I walk by and I see these boxes all the time. I keep telling myself I'm going to grab one, and I finally did just to check it out. We have Black Box Pinot Noir. I purchased this box at $3.99. It is 13.5% alcohol by volume. Let's see, we have Black Box Premium Wines, only the finest for the box. Gold medals, 100 gold medals from wine enthusiasts, including 34 Best Buys. This is a Pinot Noir from California, and they claim you get roughly 3 kind of standard glasses out of each box, 500 milliliters. So a little background in the Black Box. Black Box was founded in 2003. Today, though, it is owned by Gallo, the big Gallo wine conglomerate. It was purchased in 2021 as a deal with Constellation, picking up some of their other brands. Background to Gallo, as many of you may know, it is massive. Founded in 1933 by 2 brothers, Ernest and Julio Gallo. Their family had already grown grapes during the Prohibition era, so once Prohibition left, they were ready to jump back in the wine business. And boy, did they hit the ground running. They are now today the world's largest wine producer, producing roughly 3% of the world's wine, which is just a mind-boggling number. It comes out to roughly $35 billion bottles in annual production. That is over 4 bottles of wine per every human on the planet. Just let that marinate. That is quite impressive. And of course, when you're a company that big, you're going to have a portfolio of wines that's just absolutely massive. They carry brands like Arbor Mist, J Vineyards, Clos du Bois, just to name a few. The Gallo family has also gotten into other, alcoholic beverage categories. They are the fine folks that bring you Bartles and James wine coolers, E&J brandy, and of course the world famous Thunderbird, just to name a least. Now, speaking of box wines, it's something that is, in the last decade or two, has become new in America, but the technology and the concept's actually been around a while. Box wines actually start back in 1964 in Australia, thanks to a gentleman named Thomas Angove. He created and patented the process for box wines. Basically, he took a 1-gallon polyethylene bladder and put it into a corrugated box. The original version of these, the customer would have to literally cut a corner of the bladder and then would get a tab or a clip or whatever to reseal the bag. It was kind of hard to work with, but again, at the time, it was quite a breakthrough. The real next big step on box wine came a few years later in 1967, thanks to the folks at Penfold Wines, which is a major Australian vineyard, produces some really nice red wines. Their folks added the plastic, like a tab or a tap to it, getting the wine a little more accessible, and the rest, they say, is history. Now, one of the things that became apparent after this was that the box was cheaper than the glass as far as packaging, however, so it became very popular with the value or budget winemakers in Australia. Also, at the time, apparently the way they taxed different alcoholic beverages, that quickly became the best value for your buck if you're just the local drunk down there, and became very popular with the kind of hard drinking crowd down there. Now, oddly enough, a lot of people, when they see these, they'll think, oh, it's like the juice box when I was a kid. These were actually out before those were. The modern day juice box, as we know it, didn't come out to really late 70s, early 80s. This kind of was the predecessor to that, actually enough. Now, what is in the box here is Pinot Noir, a classic red wine grape that's grown pretty much throughout the world, or any major wine growing region throughout the world. Makes a classic red wine, but it's also utilized in the production of champagne and other sparkling wines. As some of you may or may not know, you could produce a white wine using a red wine grape. You just make sure to take the red grape skins out or separate it from the liquid faster, so those tannins and then the almost like a dye does not leach out into your wine. Pinot Noirs tend to be light to medium body. They're fairly easy drinking. They're fairly fruit forward, sweet kind of wines. The fruits you're going to pick up are more cherry, raspberry, strawberry. Some Pinot Noirs you might slide in some of the darker red fruits, but it's generally the red fruit that you're going to pick up on a classic Pinot Noir. So with that being said, let's give the Black Box Pinot Noir a try. All right, pours nice, classic kind of dark maroon, garnet red. Pinot Noirs, you generally can, if you hold up to the light, be able to see through. Oh, you kind of get those kind of jammy kind of fruit notes. There, let's go ahead and dive on in. Not too bad. I get that red fruit up front. Some of the tannins mid palate. There's not a lot on the back end. Do notice the alcohol at 13.5%. You're going to get that kind of warm feeling. Not a long finish, not complicated, but for $3.99 for you go to a standard bar today, you know, your standard chain restaurant, you're going to pay $7 or $8 for a glass of that. Whatever their house brand is going to be pretty much equivalent to that. You're going to pay at least $7 or $8 for that glass, and conceptually you get 3 in here for $3.99. So as far as a value, that's pretty solid. Yeah, again, not a lot of complexity, but man, very nice, very drinkable, very approachable. Where a lot of this type product gets used, I've done banquet bartending, and a lot of times you'll get like a box, you know, you'll just have a couple boxes and you can just tap out. Or let's say you're throwing a soiree in your backyard and you have 10, 15, 20 people, a box of wine, you know, generally would cover that. I could see this actually being used to make a nice sangria. I think this would be great actually if you're making kind of a home sangria. You're going to be adding a lot of other ingredients and stuff, so you don't want to go overboard with the wine. I think something like this would work just fine, but man, that is not bad. And again, for $3.99 to get roughly 3 glasses out, I think it's kind of tough to beat. Well, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please subscribe down below. Also, please like the video because it lets YouTube know we're putting out good content. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or things from the liquor store you'd like me to try, please leave them in the comment section, or you can always contact me on the Twitter page. Till next time, bottoms up.